Is Carl Bernstein, our CNN political analyst, journalist, and author. And Carl, NBC says that if they moved the event to a different time slot, they would be violating their agreement to give both candidates the same platform. I know you see it differently, so explain to us how you see it.
Well, first of all, it's nonsense. The idea of the debates in the town halls going back to the John Kennedy, Richard Nixon first presidential debates is to give the people of America, the voters, the largest possible audience to see these two candidates and what they have to say and to serve the democratic electoral process. And what NBC has done here is indefensible. It could easily show this debate and schedule it for later in the evening. It could rerun it later in the evening. It could tape it, delay it. But what they have chosen to do, NBC, is to be conned by Donald Trump. And that is what has really raised the most serious journalistic questions, and the reason that so many people who work at NBC and MSNBC are so upset by what NBC has done here, capitulating to Donald Trump's demands that will allow him to cut into Joe Biden's audience, essentially, because MSNBC, CNBC, these cable channels, ABC, which is broadcasting Biden, has no similar cable channels. So obviously, Trump will get the larger audience. But the real thing is that NBC has capitulated to an absolutely unacceptable demand that serves the interests of one of the two candidates. There is absolutely no defense for this.
Does this stack the deck in favor of President Trump, in your view? Or would you not go that far to say that?
It stacks the deck against the American people by not giving all of us the opportunity to watch both debates at separate times. That's the problem with it. We can watch reruns of it and all the rest, but there's no reason whatsoever, going back to the purpose that these debates were founded on and the town halls, that this can't be accommodated in a fair way. No, I would think, in fact, that because NBC is so under the gun now, that Susanna Guthrie, who is going to be the town hall moderator, I would hope and expect that she's going to be even tougher with Donald Trump, because NBC is under a microscope now. And let me also suggest...
Carl, can I ask you about that? Because, I mean, Savannah Guthrie is a good interviewer. And she is like you said, she is a sharp lawyer. So, in that way, she's talented in that way with asking questions and following up. Do you expect that actually, the president, this isn't going to be a cakewalk for him, and he could get some very tough questions?
Of course I expect that, but we got to go back to a basic question here. NBC News, one of the premier networks, has abrogated the public trust, and for reasons that are absolutely inexplicable, except commercial ones, has allowed this presentation to go forward on this schedule, which serves the interests of one of the two candidates instead of the interests of the people of the United States. I was the ABC bureau chief in Washington in 1980 and 81. And at the time, myself and the two other bureau chiefs from CBS and NBC established a rule that we would not take on our air events from the President of the United States, Carter and then Reagan, that had a sly political tinge. And the idea was that we would not be manipulated by the president into giving airtime on the president's demands instead of journalistic principles. And that precedent that we established back in 1980 with NBC News has now been abrogated by NBC News in such a way that they're going to be hurt by this. It's a shame. And they ought to take some actions over there and say, look, we're going to reschedule this thing even at this late hour. And if Donald Trump walks and doesn't want to come on the air at a later time, then to hell with it. But there is no journalistic reason whatsoever to undermine the interests of the people of the United States by favoring one candidate, which is what's happening here. This is really going to enable Donald Trump to crow, oh, I got the better ratings and all the rest. This isn't about a rating contest. That's not what these debates in town halls are about. So NBC ought to be really reconsidering their decision even at this late hour, because they have been conned and manipulated. And let me add here, all of us in journalism at all the networks have been conned at one time or another by Donald Trump. But we've gotten smarter and we've gotten better at it. And one other suggestion for both NBC, ABC, CNN, all of us, I think going forward, in terms of fact checking, maybe we need, and especially tonight, some kind of simultaneous fact checking, that whether it's a crawl at the bottom of the screen when one of the candidates presents outrageous lies and falsehoods, we need to be calling it as quickly as we can in real time. We've got to make up some new rules that serve the best obtainable version of the truth instead of the interests of the candidates. And Donald Trump has run roughshod over the truth, as we all know. That's his basic MO, his basic methodology. And in the interests of journalistic principle, well, we need to alter the way we're covering these debates in town halls in the next couple of weeks and all the appearances that we put on the air of both presidential candidates.
Carl Bernstein, thank you so much. It's always so good to see you.
Good to be with you.